incident allegedly occurred between March 31st and April 3rd. Okay, so it just didn't happen, but was not reported until May. Denver 7 Investigates reported it. It was not immediately clear which department the nurses who were involved worked in, but multiple staff members apparently there viewed while the victim was incapacitated. And then what makes it really sick is not just then, but including after he was deceased. This is a Denver police report said according to the Denver Post. The complaint to risk management for Denver Health made a mandatory report. And the police said a decision was made to allow the hospital to handle the matter internally. Jeez, you don't even get any peace when you rest. My goodness. Wow. Well, I guess it was interesting, whatever it was that they were looking at. I guess it's not a one-size-fits-all. No pun intended. Okay, I had to go there. I mean, it's Wednesday. I warned you. All right, moving on. Photographer Andy Grime, I don't know if you heard the story in Newcastle, Ohio. He got shot. He was taking pictures out with his camera, what a journalist does, and he was a photog. And this is all over the internet and all over the place. But he accidentally got shot when he found himself in the middle of a crime scene. And anyways, I don't know if you heard the story, but we're going to recount it. It was late Monday evening, and a lightning storm was rolling in. He said, my camera was already on the tripod, and I grabbed it, and I turned it, and I just hear pop, pop. Where I'm told Dayton TV station Fox 45 there, I did not hear a single warning, nor did I hear the deputy identify himself. I said, what the? Jack Shaw, you shot me, dude. Rhyme said Shaw ran over to him after quickly realizing what happened. He said, oh, my God. And then he made the call, shots fired, got a man down. He definitely told me, he said, I thought it was a gun. I thought it was a gun, Grimes said. Grimes said he and Shaw know each other and that he's not upset with the officer and hopes that nothing bad happens to him as a result of the shooting. Rhyme checked out of the hospital on Tuesday, so the photographer is okay. The sheriff's office said that it planned to release records and body camera footage of the shooting on Wednesday. They say our hearts and prayers are with Mr. Grime as he recovers and with Deputy Jake Shaw, and we ask the community to keep both of them in your hearts and prayers as well. Andy Reynolds with the sheriff's office said in the statement. Also, Tuesday, the Ohio Attorney General's office said an investigation into the shooting has been turned over to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, division of the Attorney General's office. So they knew each other. The officer thought somebody was putting a gun on a tripod, not a camera, and they knew each other. God, the thing is, the guy lived. Thank God. He was lucky enough to be able to walk out of the hospital and is okay. But, man, officers, man, they got, I tell you what, they got their hands full out there because, you know, you get nervous. You see something and you react. You either you shoot or you get killed. And a lot of these officers, unfortunately, these days are like sitting ducks. Just the climate. I mean, police officers get ambushed all the time. They go through training. It's hard to know. I'm sure they'll have an investigation to figure out what in the heck went on, but it's just interesting. They didn't know each other, and it was a complete accident. But how he mistake that for a gun? I mean, did he have bad glasses? Did he not wear his contacts? Was it too dark outside? A lot of questions I would be asking him. The publisher is pulling a book from Hillary Clinton's pastor. This publisher of a collection of devotionals that Hillary Clinton's pastor sent to her during her presidential campaign is pulling the book after finding instances of plagiarism. That's right. The United Methodist Publishing House, owners of Amington Press, said the book strong for a moment like this. The daily devotions of Hillary Rodham Clinton would be withdrawn and destroyed. The book is a collection of some of the scripture, devotionals, and inspirational writings that the Reverend Bill Shedley of United Methodist Church minister emailed to Clinton, a lifelong Methodist, during the campaign. Shedley apologized last month after it was discovered that the prayer he sent Clinton the day after she lost the presidential election was similar to a blog post by a reverend in Warsaw, India. Shedley apologized and said that he would credit the Indian's pastor in the future editions of the book. Abington Press then basically said that there was just a lot of plagiarisms throughout the book, and I guess Clinton really did not have anything to do with it other than she scheduled to discuss the book with Shadley at September 7th event in New York, and it was not immediately known if plans of the event had changed, but supposedly Clinton had no knowledge that that was plagiarism of that, but supposedly she made some money off the book too. Well, it just goes to show you, do not steal other people's material. And the man of the cloth, stealing another man's prayers from India. And it just goes to show you, it's a small world after all, isn't it? With the internet, you can access stuff so quick, so fast, and people post things, and people buy books all over the world. It's no wonder that they found out. I'm surprised. How embarrassing. But I'm sure the guy's going to get fined. The publisher, it's only the right thing to do to actually pull the book. Here's another wacky Wednesday. Not like the hospital stuff, okay? All right. We don't want to upset anybody. Pregnant woman claims she was denied service. Here's I'm telling, because of her baby bump. You got a baby bump, ladies out there? This happened to a woman in Washington State, and she said, these were her words, that she was refused entry to a restaurant because her stomach was exposed. Charlisa Goblin was telling KIRO that she was wearing a maxi skirt and a crop top when she wasn't allowed into Buzz Inn Steakhouse in Marysville, Washington. Mom, outraged, said that she was asked to leave restaurant over pregnant belly. There was just a tweet. Fox 8, affiliate WGHP at My Fox 8, the waitress bartender stopped us and said, "I'm sorry, you can't be here in that shirt." I said, "Are you being serious with me right now?" And she said, "Yup, and you can't be here." Goblin said that the restaurant employee cited their no shoes, no shirt, no service policy and claimed that they would have refused any person wearing that type of shirt. Goblin told KIRO that she felt that she was singled out because her belly was bigger and sticking out, and no one else would have had that issue. I was wearing a shirt. I had sleeves. I didn't even have any cleavage showing, she said. Buzz Inn Steakhouse did not immediately respond to the news agency Fox News. The restaurant did send the following statement to KIRO, though, and this is what they had to say. "We sincerely apologize for the misunderstanding and will cover with our staff as to know to not overly enforce a rule that is intended to make all guests feel comfortable. Our apologies for the misunderstanding. The server in question has been with the company and a great employee for almost 20 years and was not trying to use her. She was just trying to use her best judgment, and by no means was she trying to be demeaning to the guest. Again, our sincere apologies for misunderstanding." Ladies, you got to keep your bump under the shirt. You can't have it out, can't have it exposed, and that was the deal. She was proud of her bump. And I guess there's certain shirts that you can let your bump hang out. some guys have bellies that kind of hang out of their shirts. I don't know if they would have refused a guy, but she felt singled out. She was just proud to show off her baby bump. You think that's so wrong? Ladies, do you think that was in bad taste? You can weigh in on Facebook. Let me know. Bad taste to show the bump? Or do you cover that up? Is it offensive? What do you think? ForThePeopleShow.com. You can log on to Facebook at For the People Show. Or at Twitter, Talk to Keith Allen. And you can follow us in all places. But weigh in. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you're wearing a baby bump right now, would you wear it exposed or do you just pad that thing down? What do you do with it? She liked it. I thought it looked cute. But apparently, maybe she just didn't like pregnant women. I don't know. She was hungry. That's what she said. She wanted a good steak, but she couldn't just go in there and eat a steak. The city council in Charlottesville, did you hear? They voted unanimously on Tuesday to remove a statue of the Confederate General Thomas Stonewall Jackson from Justice Park. It was the 5-0 vote just weeks after last month's violent protest in the city, sparked in part by the city officials' plans to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. But today's vote, or what they said yesterday vote, will also expedite the relocation of the Lee statue. WVIR reported that the vote proceeded without incident. So Councilman Bob Fenwick, who voted for the motion, said that the Jackson and Lee monuments should be in a museum. He goes on to say, if people stop and think, we have no statues that I know of to George Washington in Charlottesville, and yet none of us have forgotten the history, Fenwick was telling WVIR. So this argument that we have to keep it, preserve history, to me is irrelevant. And everybody remembers George Washington. Do you believe in the councilman? I believe he means well. Maybe his memory remembers George Washington. Maybe he's been to Mount Vernon like I have. But there's a generation or several generations that don't even know who the vice president is. People don't even know who the president is. You ask who the second or third or our founding fathers or those that signed the Constitution, they don't know. Folks, these things are there for people to ask questions because, sadly, a lot of these figures are not in our history books anymore in the classroom. That's why. But, of course, this councilman, and they're doing this to just appease everybody there. It is the PC climate, folks, that we live in because everybody's feelings are being hurt. Please. Buck up. Come on. Really? I just don't know what it is. I grew up in the 80s in New York. New York City. I mean, you become a man quick. You learn a lot. You got to have your eyes open. You get an education way before you're 18 in that city. Yeah, just go to the Spice Channel there. On cable. Free back then in the 80s. I don't know if it's free now. On cable, but Lord have mercy. You just learn so much. Just keep the television on. Life and living, but, I worked early. I had ambition. I love working, love making my own money. It just, it's a beautiful thing, and I still like doing it. It's still a beautiful thing. It's just, I've never seen so many pansies out there complaining about so many different things that offend them. Get a life already. Honest to goodness, really, everything offends you. The statues were already there. And then there's churches now that have to, that have already been grandfathered in. And, I've heard at one university that we mentioned last week, that the cross has to come down on a prayer chapel. All, statues and things that offend people from religion. You don't like the menorah. You don't like the the Star of David. You don't like Mary. You don't like Santa Claus. You don't like to say Merry Christmas. I mean,